Good morning. You are listening to Florida Commercial Real Estate Radio. I am your host, Doug Dennison, and we are broadcasting from beautiful St. Augustine, Florida, the nation's oldest city at WFOY 1240 AM studios. I will have a co-host, Jerry Anderson, who's a CCIM from Sperry Van Ness Commercial Real Estate Advisors in Palm Beach County, will be calling in and helping me out today. Through the power of the Internet, this program is being streamed worldwide on 1240news.com. The show will also be archived on svn.com, as Sperry Van Ness Commercial Real Estate Advisors are the sponsors of this program. Additionally, this show will be posted on youtube.com. We are going to be talking about commercial real estate, different commercial real estate markets across the state of Florida. We've got a lot of topics today, and let's go to our first caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Doug. Jerry Anderson.
Well, thank you so much. I just introduced you as my co-host, and I'm thrilled to be part of this new show, Jerry. And again, let's talk about Sperry Van Ness, first of all. Tell us about Sperry Van Ness, and also what is your background, sir?
Well, I appreciate being part of the Florida Commercial Real Estate Show. Yes, Sperry Van Ness, Florida is a sponsor, and we have commercial real estate offices all over the state, Doug, and all the way up there to the Emerald Coast at Fort Walton Beach, to all the way down the East Coast to Miami, and all the way back up to Tampa. So, Sperry Van Ness, national commercial real estate firm, always ranked in the top 10 when people talk about commercial real estate firms. We provide services in terms of investment sales and leasing, and we have about 100 what we call advisors. We really believe our folks to be advisors versus agents around the state. And
well,
I've invited a couple of them to join us later today.
Jerry, I've got our first caller on, so let's get him on.
Sure.
Miguel, are you on the line here? Okay, great. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you well.
Perfect. And Jerry, you're on the line too, right?
I am on the line. I cannot hear Miguel, so he may need to speak up.
Okay. Miguel, speak up. And again, Miguel, you're the managing director, Sperry Van Ness in Lake Mary, Florida. It's great to have you on the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Miguel, and your background, and again, what you do. What's your specialty?
Well, I've been in the commercial real estate brokerage business for about 10 years now.
Okay.
I started out in sales prior to that, but fell in love with real estate in general, commercial pretty much out of the gate, which I guess is a good thing. Kind of hard to make the transition. But we came into the market, 10 years ago. It was I wouldn't say it was soft, but it wasn't the boom. Right. We saw the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows back in 2000. And we've, as far as specialty, I've made it a point to become a local market expert, a go-to guy, if you will. We get a lot of calls from locals as well as brokers as to what we know is going on in the market. And in turn, when the market took a downturn, I took the advice of Sperry Van Ness Corporate. We started investigating distressed assets before there was a big bloom of distressed assets. We started going in and talking to banks, and we struck out a lot at the beginning, but by 2010 the floodgates opened and we had a lot of bank and distressed asset activity, and that's, I guess you would say, what I am specializing in for the last 3 years and been fairly successful at it recently is the distressed asset markets.
Excellent. Well, I've heard that you are number 1 in the state of Florida, and that's just wonderful, and number 9 for Sperry Van Ness nationally. That's great. What's helped you helping your clients? I know Sperry Van Ness is a little different from other commercial real estate firms. They really go out to the local brokers and get them involved. But, in your words, why has Sperry Van Ness been a key in your success?
Sperry Van Ness is fantastic because it doesn't get in the way of the local broker on the local level.
Got it.
There are a lot of clients who need local expertise and advice, but they need to know that their broker has those world-class tools and technology to get the job actually done. We're not compartmentalized. We're not forced to do certain things a certain way, which gives the brokers who've really created the market in their hometown, gives them the freedom to go out and do what they need to do and rely on the advice and the camaraderie and the culture of Sperry Van Ness nationally.
Well, Jerry, if you're on the line, why don't you jump in and ask Miguel some questions here?
Well, he is very humble, Doug, because, yes, Miguel is a young guy. He does a terrific job for his clients, and his clients are very loyal. And the reason he was number one in the state, I don't want to brag on that as much as I want to brag on the services that he brings to his clients. And he's done a number of larger transactions and yet smaller transactions as well. Miguel, your clients really have a lot of confidence in you. They trust you. They like you. You make them money. Tell us what their perception of the market is right now, and then drift into your perception of the market. In other words, you're hearing it on the street, but how do you synthesize all that for our listeners and help them understand what's going on in one of the three major counties of the Orlando metro market?
Well, the first thing is when somebody hears you're in commercial real estate, they immediately assume barometer for. We get asked to be the barometer for the economy a lot.
Okay.
And what we're seeing is the old adage that there's a buyer at the right price is starting to come true. For years, we dealt with sellers that did not have the ability to discount their properties to a level that buyers could buy. We were dealing with buyers that couldn't get financing or didn't have the cash to buy. But we're starting to see a stabilization in prices. Yes, prices are lower, but that's also triggering velocity and activity in the marketplace. So, I'm not seeing views going back up through the roof today, but I'm seeing a lot of settling, a lot of short sales happening, a lot of discounts taken to actually start to move property. So we're starting to move a lot of assets, which is the first step, in my opinion, to a recovery. If there's no deals taking place at any price point, there's never going to be a recovery.
I think what Miguel was saying there, Doug, is true. That gap, we often refer to it as the gap between the ask and the bid, the realistic expectations of the sellers, has historically meaning the last couple of years, been pretty far outreaching in terms of what the buyers were willing to pay. At the end of the show today, I'm going to talk a little bit about the different product verticals, retail versus office, and there's some interesting things happening in those different markets.
Tell us your name and exactly where you're from and what part of Florida you're from, Miguel.
Sure. Miguel de Arcos. I am the managing director of the Lake Mary, Florida office. Lake Mary is basically just a suburb of the Metro Orlando market. So our sandbox is Central Florida, Orlando. The general metro area. We do deals around the state through our SBN partners, but that's where we're at. We're basically the Orlando market.
Very good. And, you were starting to talk about the different markets and everything. How has financing changed in the last few years? Is it getting better? Is it helping? Where are we as far as commercial real estate financing?
Well, financing, literally up to about 30 days ago has been a little bit trickier. It's just starting to creep back out. We're finally starting to see the CMBS lenders come out and start to aggressively go after deals. But more importantly, not every deal is a CMBS qualified deal. The local banks are finally starting to step back out onto a limb and say, okay, we want to finance these deals. And not only do we want to finance them, we want to be a little bit more aggressive on our terms. Some of our local banks, they may have a $5 to $10 million lending limit, but they're offering, 3.75% interest rates, not only on user properties, but also on some strong, well-qualified investment properties, with obviously a strong sponsor as well. But those rates are fantastic. They're not going to last forever. We're going to start to see interest rates going back up, and I think that'll slow down the buying cycle a little bit. So get in while you can.
Is it a good time to buy right now, Miguel?
It's the only better time to buy. If you had right now, it's a great time to buy because you can start to predict the upturn in values. Before it was, if you bought something, it was a crapshoot as whether or not you're going to get a return or whether the tenants are going to stabilize themselves. Is it going to be risky? So the risk is starting to market, and you can project some upside, and you have historically low rates, and banks are getting aggressive again. There's not a better scenario to get out and start buying.
Miguel, I'm gonna say something because Jerry kind of hit on it. You do a lot of business with repeat buyers, it sounds like, which is all about relationships and staying in touch and making sure that you know what your clients like. Are relations a big thing in your business?
You know, when people ask me to quote, a quote that sums up my business, and it always comes down to building relationships, period. I mean, that is the heart and soul of my success. I live, I work, I play in my local neighborhood.
Right.
And we associate and we take care of folks that we know are connectors in the market. We get involved. We do leadership programs. We do a lot of charitable foundations, board of directors, stuff like that, to associate with the folks and become a resource for them. And you provide enough resources, people come back to you. So, yes, I have a lot of repeat business, but those repeat business folks send a lot of referrals your way, and there's really nothing better than a very, very long-time client giving a strong recommendation to a new client. The business is pretty much yours. So that's been a huge key to my success. I'm not a cold caller. I don't pound the phones. I work with clients, new and old, and a lot of them come to us based on both our marketing activities, our properties in the market, but that referral base through relationship building and being a leader in the community is really the secret sauce.
Well, yeah, that's wonderful. And you talked a little bit about the community, and I'm looking at your bio right now, and you are a strong believer in the community. Tell us some of the things you're involved in, and don't leave out the fact that you're helping in Little League with your sons.
Well, family first.
Yep.
Work third. Let me put church first, God first, family, health. So yes, I do get involved. I sit on 2 or 3 nonprofit boards. I created a corporate 5K race. We have about 1,200 people, and that's been fantastic. Not only is it a phenomenal fundraiser, we raised about $25,000.
Whoa!
For a homeless shelter, but I designed it. We have a Seminole County with about 4 million square feet of Class A office. So I said, well, how can we do a charity event to touch these? Because guess what? It also happens to be my business demographic. So we created a race. We go right down that business main street, that business parkway, and we get about 1,000 plus or minus employees and business owners and community leaders to come out and get to yell at everybody on the bullhorn for hours. So it's great exposure. But, you know, my family comes first. Yes, I have 3 clubs. I coach both their Little League teams. So it is a task. Some days I got to go racing out of the office to practice or a game. But, you know, there's something to it. I would say we've had our best year was 2012 since pre-disaster in 2009.
Sure.
And I can honestly say I spent less time in the office last year because the health aspect, we do a lot of endurance races and training. And, you know, as I mentioned, you know, I haven't been to the office yet because we've been out lake swimming this morning, getting ready for our next race. So it's all a state of mind. You can get everything done in the allotted time you have if you plan well, and if you have the right technology. An iPad and a cell phone goes a long way.
I got it, Jerry. I know that he's very busy and is going to get out there. We want to make sure that we get all his contact information for our listeners. But is there anything else that you might want to say to Miguel?
No, I appreciate you taking the time to be with us this morning, Miguel. We'll put your contact information on the screen, and as you say, go sell something.
Now, Jerry, just in case, let me ask Miguel, how do we get in touch with you right now if there's a listener who wants to talk to you?
Well, site for us, svnflorida.com. All of my contact information as well as my counterparts in the various markets are on there.
Okay.
At the same time, you can reach me at my cell phone number, which is 407-257-7334.
Very good. Hey, thank you so much, Miguel, for being on our first show. done a great job. You're our first guest, along with the co-host, Jerry Anderson. Again, I appreciate the fact that you're a leader in not only commercial real estate, but also the community. That's dear to my heart. So thank you for being on, and good luck in the future, Miguel.
Bye-bye.
All right, Jerry. Wow, he's a sharp guy and #1 in the state of Florida. Wow.
Yeah, he's had a good year. He's got a number of projects that he works on, and he's having a great year already in 2013. He's one of those folks that you're proud of, and you like to be able to hitch your wagon to that star, young rising star within Central Florida, and we're proud to have him as part of Sperry Van Ness.